What's up, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family? It's a beautiful day on planet Earth. This is episode 6. Episode 6 of the Homesick Lone Wolf podcast coming at you. And I'm just going to dive right in because the last episode I had just moved back to Durango after first time moving to Phoenix. It was like my first time moving outside of Durango and going somewhere outside of my hometown, and it was chaotic because I had some money. My grandpa had just passed away. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I didn't care. I had a lot going in Colorado, and I wanted to move. I had been in Colorado my whole life, and I finally had a chance to get out of there, but I wasn't ready mentally at all. Again, everywhere I went, I brought my chaotic ways. I brought my compulsive behavior, lying and cheating and stealing. And I try to go to Phoenix, and I tell myself I'm going to go to Phoenix, and I'm going to start a band, and I'm going to get into a place for a room for rent. I'm going to work at a kitchen. I'll just build from there. But I end up going to Phoenix, and I'm in this weird area of West Phoenix, dirty West Phoenix. And I'm with my friend Kyle, who's a skater kid, not very responsible, kind of just does his thing. He's staying with his mother, so he's letting me and my buddy Dan stay with his mom, so it's this weird living situation, and we're going out and partying all night and then coming home at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., trashed, and she got sick and tired of it one day. Well, she woke me up and she's like, "Party's over, get out of here, you gotta go today." And my buddy Kyle's like, "Yeah, man, you gotta get out of here, dude. You're just partying and being all crazy and not giving us any money." So I didn't really have a plan when I moved down there, and it all went to shit pretty quickly. The dirty West Phoenix is a weird area of Phoenix. It's just got a lot of crime and a lot of felons and a lot of just crime scumbag motherfuckers. A lot of just bad people live in this area, and there's constant shootings, there's constant break-ins, there's all kinds of weird shit happening, and it's such a packed city. There's so many people there, and it's a melting pot. Phoenix has every kind of race, and everybody in this area is poor and broke and struggling. And there's a lot of bitterness and hostility and racial tension in this area. And I had said earlier, my buddy told me, "Hey, you are the minority here. You look like the sketchy meth head white kids that break into houses out here." So that was different, but it was quite the learning experience. And there was that terrible night where I got really trashed at the skate park. I was mixing pills and alcohol, blacked out, and my friends told me I almost stepped in front of a car and almost stumbled in front of a bus. It was a very dark little area. I don't remember much at all, except I was just getting messed up, and it was dangerous. I wasn't even eating. I was just drinking and taking pills and chain smoking cigarettes and meeting people. And most of the people I met in this area were up to no good. I go back to Durango for a funeral, my grandpa's funeral. I meet back up with my girlfriend. I miss her so much. I love her at this point. We're just pretty close, and she's the only real beauty and stability and positive thing that I have in my life, and I'm holding on to it so hard. I'm holding on to her for sure, and I loved her very much. And I didn't see it, that veil that we have over our eyes as an addict. And when we're young, when we're naive, when we haven't developed or become self-aware yet, there's just so much that we're oblivious to. And it doesn't even exist to us in our small world of let's numb out our pain, let's party, let's run from responsibility. It's the Peter Pan story, just wanting to be young, responsibility-less, and having a good time all the time. And that can lead to some serious repercussions in the future, mentally, physically, financially. I come back for my grandpa's funeral. Everybody thinks I'm a total wreck. Everyone thinks that I'm a monster and I'm going off the rails, and it's a matter of time before they get a phone call saying that I've been killed. And they told me this often, that there was this point where they were just kind of waiting for the phone call, and it never happened. So yay. But hey, I talked to my girlfriend at the funeral. Things are tough. Things are hard. At the funeral, I'm on pills. I'm on opiates. And I'm kind of like a little too excited. I'm a little too happy. I'm a little too smiley and upbeat for a funeral. So it kind of made me look like a scumbag. Kind of made me look like a total asshole. And after that funeral, my brothers and sisters, my family didn't talk to me for a little while. I would say 3-4 months maybe. And it was just because, I don't know, I guess they did something weird there. My mom had a brother growing up, and this was Chris. And Uncle Chris kind of had a lifestyle like mine, it sounds like, but he was just drinking and doing drugs with some weird people all the time. I don't think he ever really worked. I think he was just kind of one of those homeless. I think he was homeless and asked my grandpa for money all the time and didn't really work, and he was always in jail. So, and we didn't see him much growing up. It was my mom's older brother. But he was a homeless alcoholic addict. A lot of issues there. And my grandpa was very conservative, really strict, and a military person growing up. So Chris rebelled, and he grew up and became a rebellious individual with no regard for any kind of system or responsibility or society. And he just seemed like he was a destructive, bitter person. And this kind of, I grew up and realized that my family had started talking about me in a similar way they talked about Uncle Chris. And I think in some weird way they might have lumped me in. I felt lumped in anyways. I felt like they lumped me in with him, and I was that person from our family. Maybe they thought every family has to have one of these dysfunctional, out-of-control people that we turn our backs on. But there was some similar. I mean, we had some things in common. The addiction part, the black sheep part. But other than that, I don't think that man is anything like me. I don't think I was very similar to him at all. But they kind of lumped me in with that deadbeat asshole that just calls all the time for money. And Uncle Chris, I don't know what happened to him. I think one night he was with some, in addiction, you're partying. Misery loves company. So you're around weird motherfuckers. You're around terrible people sometimes. A lot of the times you're around trippy, untrustworthy, unpredictable people. And I'm not sure how old he was. I think he was under 50, but over 40. And I believe just one day we got this call that he had died. I believe he got drunk with some people and they beat him up and they kicked his head and he died. And they kicked his head until he died, or they beat him up until he died. And that kind of his story always resonated with me. I always was like, I don't want to end up like this. I don't want my story to end like that. And and now looking back, that was the path I was on. I was on a weird little trajectory similar to his, where I was going to end up dead in a gutter, covered in dirt and blood, or in jail for the rest of my life. Or I was going to commit suicide. But that was a big one, though, the mixing pills and alcohol. I always did kind of, someday I'm just not going to wake up. I'm going to die on some asshole's couch. I'm going to die on some stranger's couch because I took too many pills and drank too much and mixed. I didn't eat. I'm unhealthy. I always had those thoughts that this was going to happen to me. So I deal with my grandpa's death a lot differently than my siblings. I was, I guess, kind of just happier. I was just kind of relieved that he was not in a nursing home anymore, and he wasn't just, he wasn't just an Alzheimer's patient. He wasn't just getting dementia, and he wasn't just suffering in a nursing home. And there's this weird thing that happened there. Like, Steven had, my good friend Steven died also this year, the same year my grandpa passed away. Steven died out in Utah. So it was a couple months before my grandpa passed away. Steven had passed away. I just got a phone call or a text from a friend that said, Steven is dead. Call me. And they said that Steven on New Year's Eve was just trash, drinking, having a good time with one of his buddies. And I guess this all took place in Utah, around Salt Lake area. And I guess they're hanging out, drinking, having a good time. And Steven's buddy took out his pistol, or a gun of some sort. The gun went off and shot my friend Steven in the fucking face. And the gun went off and shot Steven in the face. So I get this phone call and I am ripped to shreds. I don't believe it. I can't believe it. My brothers can't believe it. We're just crying. And this is unbelievable. And Steven was just such a badass dude, and he was always just so happy and grateful and trying to make the best of every situation. I was trying to move to Salt Lake so we could start a band, but I was so in this dark area, dark place of my life that I just never could. I never could move up to Salt Lake and start a band with him. And I think he died, and I found out 3 days after. I don't think they couldn't get a hold of me or something, but I didn't find out he died till 3 days after, which really made me sick. So this happens, it's actually, Steven died, and then I've tripped out, freaked out, and moved to Phoenix. And then back to Durango. My girlfriend, after the funeral, my girlfriend talks me into staying in Colorado this time. So I stay in Colorado this time. And I'm on the outs with my family, especially because of the behavior at the funeral. I was just, like I said, a little too upbeat, a little too positive to be at a funeral. So they kind of took offense to it. They took it to heart. I understand. And kind of after discussing all of this stuff with my girlfriend at the time, she's trying to move out to the East Coast. So I moved back from Phoenix, back to Colorado in Durango. And I'm on the outs with my family. My girlfriend, Alabama, we'll call her. She was the only thing beautiful I had in my life. And she stayed with me, even though I had this destructive lifestyle. And I was stuck in these destructive patterns of behavior. And I didn't really have any goals. I didn't really have any aims. Didn't really have anything I was aiming for. Once the band broke up, I was just kind of drifting. And again, in the band, I told myself, I'm in a band. I can party. I can drum and work hard at the music and then party afterwards. It's okay. But that's just the addict talking, and that's the addict mindset. Giving you a reason to get messed up, giving you a reason to numb out, giving you a reason to use. And back in Colorado, I get back from Phoenix. I move in with a buddy from high school. His mother had a room for rent. So I move in with her. Crazy lady. Very sweet, nice lady. But batshit crazy. And absolutely mentally unwell. I think she had a lot of benzodiazepines, a lot of Xanax and Valium laying around the house, which was terrible for me as an opiate addict to mix those things, which I did. And I wasn't very mindful of these things back then. Like I said, it was very compulsive, and it was just one day at a time. and trying to numb out from all these feelings and all this chaos, instead of staying still and trying to learn from it and making sense of it all. It was just this constant running away from it and constant numbing out, reaching for substances. Steven passes away. Steven dies. I move back from Colorado. My grandpa passes away. We do the whole funeral and everything. I talk to my girlfriend. I decide to move back to Colorado, so I find a room for rent. An old buddy from high school, his mother, like I said, had a room for rent. Boom, I move in with her. I'm back in Colorado. I'm not moving from Phoenix to Durango anymore. I'm staying in Colorado. And my girlfriend, she's trying to figure out a college to go to. And she was looking into schools on the East Coast. And Baltimore had come up. And I was just like, you know what? My family lives out there. I have family and friends in Baltimore. If you get accepted out there, we should totally move out to Baltimore together. And besides all of that, I was barely getting by at this room for rent that I had set up with the crazy lady. Kind of just day to day. I worked at a pizza shop across the street, J-Bo's, there in Durango, Colorado. Good times. Very good for it was a very mediocre, low-key place. Lots of beginners, lots of students worked there, and first-timers in kitchens and things like that. It was a chill little week job, but I was able to get cash in my pocket and pay for rent and food. And what was mostly on my mind was getting pills, opiates, still. So at this point, Elle and I are still friends. We're still hanging out. We're not playing any music, though. We sure did talk about it a lot, but we never took action and did it. So my girlfriend, Alabama, starts really kind of laying into me about my company and my friends and people I'm around. Hey, your friend Elle is a total loser. Your friend so-and-so isn't going anywhere. Your friend so-and-so is a cheater and a liar. Why are you with these people? Why are you hanging out with these people? Totally left her out of the dark, though. I didn't tell her about any of my addictions. She knew I drank and smoked cigarettes, and she totally hated that. Disapproved wholeheartedly. But I still kept these dark secrets, man, about addiction and opiate usage and just all these underlying issues that I didn't really want to tell her about. I didn't really know how to tell her about them, and I definitely thought she wouldn't care. I thought this was kind of my demon to battle. This was my dragon to slay, and nobody would understand it. Elle and I get into this fight one night. We're drinking. My friend Elle and I are talking this one night. We have a falling out. We start kind of arguing and fighting. So Elle and I get in this fight one night. Boom, we part ways. We have a falling out. We're texting each other. I hate you. You're a loser. You're a drug addict. You're this and that. Another one of those falling outs where you're just insensitive and you just say the meanest thing you can. Very immature. This guy, Elle, had one of Steven's guitars. Steven had given him one of his guitars, and Elle never paid him for it. In true Elle fashion, he just didn't pay him for it. Elle had this guitar that was Steven's, and I felt some kind of attachment to that guitar because it was Steven's, and Steven had just died 5 months prior. Elle and I get in this fight and this argument. We part ways. I'm out driving around one day, and I'm on opiates. I'm on oxycodone. And I'm just chilling, relaxing, driving down a country road in Colorado, listening to Led Zeppelin, and just kind of numbing out. And I get this weird-ass, terrible idea to go get Steven's guitar from Levi's house. L. Levi. So I get this crazy idea to get Steven's guitar from L's house. L lives with his parents, and they have 6 or 7 kids. One of these weird Christian homes where they just adopt a bunch of kids and make them live in the dirt all together in one room or something. I don't know. It was a dirty, messy, unorganized, chaotic household with all these kids running around and people stealing and things. I think one of Levi's younger brothers had gotten, I think he was 17 or 18, but he had gotten into his mother's room and took some kind of a pill. I think he took an Oxycontin or something, and he died. He actually overdosed and died on a medication he went and got out of his mother's room. So that really messed Levi up. Besides that, back to the story. I get this crazy idea. I need to get that guitar. It was Steven's guitar. And Levi's a piece of shit. Levi is not a good person and does not deserve to have this guitar. I'm going to drive out there and I'm going to get it. So I drive out. I had all the time, too. I had all this time to turn back and say, hey, don't go there. Don't do it. You're going to get in trouble. And I went. I go there. I show up. I show up at his parents' house. Nobody's there. It doesn't look like anyone's there. I go to the door. It's unlocked. I go inside. Nobody's around. So I try to find his room and try to find the guitar. I see it, I find it, I grab the guitar, and then his mom comes out of her room, and she goes, hey, who are you? And I'm like, hey, Levi said I could come by and get this guitar. And she freaked the fuck out, and she's like, I don't think so. What are you doing in my house? What are you doing in my house? So I put the guitar down, and I fucking run, and I'm like, hey, he said I could come by. Boom, I run outside, I get in the car, I fucking haul ass back to the apartment. I get to the apartment, I get a text from Levi, and it's like, dude, you tried to steal my guitar? You tried to steal my guitar from the house? And he says, my mom called the cops are on their way. I start panic attacking, freaking out. I'm like, this is so insane, this is crazy. I left empty-handed, which is kind of good. Possession is 9/10 of the law. I didn't have shit. But, of course, they come to my fucking house. They come to my apartment. They're just like, yeah, you broke into this house. You broke into this house. And they're pressing charges. Oh, man. Thrown in handcuffs. Boom. We're going to jail for the second time, mother cousins. Oh, thankfully, this was like a 4-day stay. And that was the last time I was in jail. Oh, knock on wood. It's been a while. I'm so thankful. It was just so weird, too, because I got out, and then my girlfriend was just kind of like, what is going on? Who are you? Like, there's a lot you're not telling me. I think there's a lot you're not telling me. And this roommate, this crazy lady, starts being like, what's going on? You're going to jail. Why did you go to jail? What happened? What's your problem? Are you on pills? Are you taking my medicine? I'm like, no, I'm not taking your medicine. I have different people I get different medicine from. And she kicks me out. She throws all my stuff outside. And my girlfriend, who lives with her mother, got me and all my stuff. And I go to her house and I put all my stuff in her fucking living room. And her mom lived there. So I'm this weak-ass, irresponsible, lost, broken individual that cannot get his shit together. So I'm staying there for like 3 or 4 days. And that's the point where she kind of like broke up with me. It was kind of this like, dude, it was just a little too much for her. And I agree. It was a lot. There was a lot happening there. And that's where we broke up. We threw in the towel. We kind of parted ways. But it was not a clean break. It was this I didn't want to let go thing. She wanted to break free, but I did not want to. I just had not been loved before, and it was so amazing to me to feel love and have someone tell me I love you and have someone that I could talk deeply with, somebody that I could cry with, be romantic with, and emotional with. It was just a lot. It was a lot of care and nurture that I needed, and I was trying to hold on to it hard. But she decided to go to register to a college out in Baltimore, Maryland. She left and went out there for school. I'm back in Colorado, in Durango. I think at this point, I'm working at Old Timers Cafe, Main Street there in Durango. Lovely place, lovely people. So I'm working here at this restaurant. The day finally comes that she flies out and moves out to Maryland. My little brother is living in Baltimore. I have a lot of family in Baltimore. So I have this compulsive behavior still, and I don't want to let go. I don't want to move on. We had dated for about a year, and it was so all over the place. It was just me creating a lot of chaos and hurting her. I'm pretty sure I caused a lot of confusion and pain in her life. My little brother lives out in Baltimore. He is staying with my Uncle Donald. Uncle Don, the man. No, he's just the best, though. He's so awesome and super diehard Christian, super diehard Republican. This mother cousin bleeds red, white, and true, for sure. huge culture shock going from Colorado to Baltimore. I was still in that naive, immature, kind of young mindset still. And I hadn't really been in anywhere scary or chaotic or terrible. Like, I hadn't really been anywhere like the East Coast, especially living. In Colorado, when you're homeless, you can kind of get by. You can couch surf. You can meet people. You can be outside by the river. You can find these beautiful, pleasant, warm, safe places to stay. In Baltimore, it's just the concrete jungle, man. It is so dirty and gnarly there. It's just a different world, especially to a homeless person. It's like in Colorado, you're not really homeless. You're just couch surfing or staying with friends. But in Baltimore, I think that would just probably lead to death or a lot of other weird problems. So I'm in Colorado. My heart is killing me. My stomach is killing me. I'm in knots. Stomach's in knots. My feelings are all over the place. I can't focus on anything. I'm definitely withdrawing a little bit from medications and drugs I was taking, as well as alcohol abuse. So with all of that withdrawal, plus the breakup, the body and the mind go through similar withdrawal when you break up with somebody. When a relationship stops and ends, especially a romantic, intimate one, your body and mind produce the same kind of symptoms as if you were withdrawing from drugs or alcohol. And that was just a lot to deal with because I had these panic attacks and I wanted to be with her so badly. And I was just always thinking about her and I could not focus. In a very compulsive manner, I get a hold of my uncle and my brother out in Baltimore. I talked to them about moving out there. Yeah, well, you got to have a plan. You got to have some money saved up, my uncle says. So I give it another 2 or 3 weeks. I'm getting by. I'm still partying. I'm still drinking and taking pills in Colorado, working at a restaurant, partying, just getting by. Same thing every day. Feeling terrible, missing this girl so much, and still thinking that there was hope. Still thinking that we could be together. So I move out to Baltimore, Maryland, and it was the biggest culture shock ever. And I thought I was lost. I thought I was lost before. When I moved to a completely new city, and a big city at that. A big, intimidating, aggressive city. I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know the culture. I didn't know any friends. I didn't have any connections anywhere. I didn't know where the restaurants were to work at. I didn't know anybody to buy pills from. Didn't know anyone to party with. I had one homie out there, though. Buddy, Leroy, the man. Good times. And we would go out quite a bit and drink. I would behave so... It was so weird how I would behave there. Because I still had this Colorado mindset. I had this Colorado mindset where I thought everybody was on the level. Everybody was positive, respectful, out for a good time, and not trying to hurt anybody. Again, I was still young and pretty naive. Still very naive. I'm there for about a week and get out to Baltimore, and I'm staying with my uncle, and my little brother lives there with him, so we're all together there, us three. My little brother and I go out and do all this cool stuff, explore the town, explore the city. My uncle talks to me and he's like, I really don't want you to mess up where your little brother's at. He's going to school, he's going to work, he's going to AA classes. He's got a really good thing going here, and I don't want you to mess that up. I don't want you to get in your brother's way or distract him from everything he's building and working towards. I didn't really understand that. I didn't understand what he was talking about, but I wanted to party and I wanted to hang out with my brother and run around, look at graffiti and listen to music, have a great time. So it's like 3 weeks I'm there. I find this restaurant down the road, Snyder's, and it's just a standard basic American kitchen, American food. A couple felons working back there with me. And there were cockroaches one night, and I was like, hey, what the hell is that? I've never seen this before. What was that? And they're like, oh, cockroaches. Yeah, this is the East Coast, man. Everybody got cockroaches out here. And that blew my mind, because in Colorado, we just had the cleanest kitchens, and we didn't have roaches and shit like that out there. We had ants, maybe, but first time seeing cockroaches in a kitchen scared the shit out of me. It's getting to be November, and all the family's gonna fly out to the house, out to Uncle Don's in Baltimore for Thanksgiving. Everybody's going to fly out there. We're all going to hang out, and it's going to be wonderful. I'm in Baltimore. I'm running around this city trying to find this school that my ex is at. I get a hold of her, and I'm like, I'm downtown Baltimore. I want to come see you. I'm running around. My brother's driving me around this campus. It's huge. There's all these weird turns, a lot of traffic, and rude drivers and aggressive drivers. But I'm just focused on trying to see her. And I see her. I get to see her. I visit. I hug her. I talk to her for a bit. I walk with her. We walked for a bit. We talked for a minute. And then I left. I got back in the car. My brother and I left, went back to the house. And I felt okay after that. I felt a little more closure after that. In a weird way, I felt like I could let go now. But I still was like, I'm here. We can be together. We can totally do this again. I can change. We can be together. But she was not having it, man. In this weird, fucked up way, I'm glad she didn't. Because I was able to move forward and go through a lot. I was able to just experience a lot of life and go, and it wasn't the bottom yet. It wasn't the bottom yet. I still had some more to learn. I had more places to go, more things to feel, more mistakes to make, more lessons to learn. It gets to be Thanksgiving. My mother flies out. My brothers all fly out. My sister is there. Everyone's in Baltimore for Thanksgiving. And I drink quite a bit on this day. I drink quite a bit. My uncle tells me, hey, whatever you do, don't drink my Jack Daniels. Cool, check. Heard, no problem. An hour goes by. I start breaking into the Jack Daniels. Why not just go to the store? I'm not sure. I don't know. I was young, immature, and naive. And I was definitely trying to do what was easy, not what was right. So we're all there. We're trying to have a good time. We're hanging out. And I start getting a little loose and cussing and telling stories and laughing and thinking I'm so hilarious. I'm offending people. I'm cussing. And Uncle Don finds out I drank his Jack Daniels. And he is like, you need to leave my house right now. You need to get out of here right now, boy. So I don't know where the hell I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm drunk, so I just leave. I just go for a walk in this town of Halethorpe, Maryland. And I go to this bridge, and I just chill under this bridge. And I just smoke cigarettes, and chill under this bridge and think about how awful they are and how mean they are. But I also remember thinking about how different it was than Colorado. It was a different quality of life, a different mindset in Colorado. It was just kind of all okay because we were in God's country. It was pleasant. It was beautiful. Fresh air. Lots to do. Gorgeous scenery. Good people everywhere. It was just kind of this celebrate life. That's my Colorado mindset that I've always carried with me, was that we're grateful to be alive and let's live today. Let's experience the beauty and joy around us. But being out there in Baltimore, it was such a different atmosphere, such a different tension, different everything. You had to walk differently. You had to talk differently. I had to figure that out quick because I was saying hello to people that were homeless, crazy people, and I didn't know you weren't supposed to make eye contact with them. So I was constantly getting stopped and talked to by homeless people and crackheads just because I was so naive and I was, oh, what's this guy up to? Maybe he's partying. Again, with that addiction thing, you just, seriously, your priorities are so messed up, and you don't have an internal value system. You don't have an internal pyramid of values and beliefs and ways to react and ways to behave. So this Thanksgiving fight was pretty intense because that was the point. My mother was there. My whole family was there. So my uncle, I had been there for about 30 days, and my uncle, my mom and I talk, and he's just like, I think you got to leave. I don't think you can stay here anymore. I really want you to get out of here. You're not doing anything. You're not going to school. You're not working that much. You're not really building anything. You're just getting trashed and then coming home at 2 a.m. and sleeping till noon. And that's a no-go for this man. It was so insane to be a free man, a free, solo, single individual on my own, relying on nobody but myself, and then moving here to where I have this tyrant I have a tyrannical uncle that's just, you gotta go to church every Sunday if you live in this household, and you gotta take your hat off at the table, and you gotta do this and that. You just went outside, wash your hands. All this insane shit. Don't eat any sweets after midnight. All this weird crap, man. No candy before noon. Like, fuck off. You come from the streets and a rock and roll lifestyle and a rebellious mindset. That was just almost like jail to me. So we made some adjustments, we figured things out, and I realized, yeah, maybe that's going to be best. That would probably be best if I went back to Colorado and I was around like-minded people. Maybe I could meet up with some people my age and live with some friends that are doing Denver and going out and having a good time there in the city. Maybe I can have some connections there in Denver, get a job, things like that. Go back to something familiar. Go back to where I have some kind of a chance, and go back to something I know. And this started a whole nother chapter, man. This started a whole nother chapter. I had always wanted to move to Denver, and this was my chance. This was my opportunity to move to Denver for the first time. So this is a good stopping point right here for this. I was about to move back to Denver. I was about to go live with the gnarliest, craziest, most out of hand, most troubled friend that I had. I was about to go live with him in Denver. This is the beginning of the story of living with Dickie. This is Richard. This is the Dickness, the infamous Dickness, the infamous Dickie, and living with him in Denver. I had no idea the chaos and the insanity that I was in for. I was about to dive into another layer of hell, and I had no idea. I was not prepared for the city, and I was not prepared to deal with what was going to happen with Dickie and my friend, who was also battling gnarly ass cocaine addiction and alcohol addiction. This guy was out of fucking control and made me look like a saint, and we were about to link up in Denver and live together. And the stories are going to get better, people. This is when I was kind of like, okay, man, it's over. It's done for. I just ruined everything with my family. I just ruined everything with my ex. I can kind of let go, though. I felt like going out there and meeting her and seeing her gave me a little bit of closure. And then I kind of realized that it's okay and I can move on and I can leave it all behind. But there was still this weird thing, man. When I moved to Denver, I didn't have a plan there either. I just had a buddy that was like, dude, you can totally stay with me. I'll help you get a job. And that was a lot more than I had going in Baltimore. Baltimore just seemed like there was so much going on that it was hard to find the right path. And there was so much darkness, chaos, and confusion and corruption in that town that it was hard to trust. Everybody kind of looked at each other like they were going to steal from them or lie to them. Like walking down the street and you pass somebody and you say hello. That's how we do it in Colorado. I go out there and you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to talk to strangers or look at them. It was a completely different world. Everyone on the East Coast seemed like they were bitter and resentful and angry and expecting the worst out of people. And that's when I kind of realized that when I was there. I kind of realized that this place is not where I need to be. Kind of like when you're in jail and you have that realization, I don't deserve to be here. I don't need to be here. Let's do everything we can to make sure we're not here. I got that same feeling out in Baltimore, and just there wasn't much laughter or joy happening out there. And to me, in Durango, Colorado, that's what it was all about. A day full of laughter and sunshine and gratitude and friends and family, and just celebrating life and this journey that we're on. So I packed up and I got out of there. I got on a flight 2 days later after Thanksgiving, and I went straight to Denver. Where the next chapter, and I went straight to Denver, where the next chapter begins, and the old chapter ends. This is a great stopping point right here. I don't want it to get too long. I love you, and I hope this made sense to you, and I hope it makes you think a little bit, and I will pick up right where I left off here. Leaving Baltimore, leaving my lover behind, leaving some family behind, and starting a new chapter, starting a new life, starting a new path and journey back in Colorado. This time we're going to the city. We're going to Denver, baby. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome night. I love you. I miss you. I believe in you. And I want you to have a tremendous sunshine-filled day. I love you. Be kind to each other. This is John Schaefer signing off, episode 6 of the Homesick Lone Wolf Podcast. I love you. I believe in you. Be good to each other.